do this. We don't know what we're doing. Welcome to Happy Homemaking. I'm Heidi. This is Sabrina. We are living in the midst of Hurricane Helene pandemonium. I don't know. And so all of this, I don't even know when we'll finally get this out, but at least we're filming stuff and putting it together. Here is Happy Homemaking Hurricane Helene edition. So as we were so excited to revamp everything we have going on here at Heavenly Minded Home, we were hit by Hurricane Helene here in western North Carolina, which apparently most people are seeing on the news. We can't see anything because we haven't had power for how many days now? Are we in 4 days?
Four.
Yeah.
Well, we had blinking power the first day, but then we had no power.
So we're 4 days. Yeah, so we're 4 days now of no power, no water.
No.
And so we thought we would still go ahead and record a Happy Homemaking. And our first segment that we are doing is Have You Heard? So this time it's not just you who has news. We both have news. Have you heard about Hurricane Helene?
We have.
So, okay.
But really not before it tormented us.
Right. This is, oh, it is. Okay. I have camera set up weird because we're having power issues. And so I couldn't tell. There it is. Couldn't tell if it was working. So Sabrina just moved out here from Northern California.
Yes.
We're originally from Southern California. We moved out here 17 years ago, just over 17 years ago. And it's really crazy because our nearly 1 year anniversary of living out here, we lost everything in a flood outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, where we lived. And so she's got chicken roaming around her. And so they just get here a month ago now, a little over a month ago. And we have Hurricane Helene coming. I said, well, this is how hurricanes work up here in the mountains of North Carolina. You get 1 or 2 days of a lot of rain. Our basement will flood. The river can rise. We have a creek that can rise and really connect up, and it really is a lot of water. But that's down lower on the property. And we have to be very careful because trees can come down. So when the ground is really wet, we have to keep an eye out and make sure.
You live in a forest.
Yeah, we live in a forest. So you have that. But that's really all a hurricane means up here in the mountains.
Strong winds, lots of rain. Maybe a little bit of
maybe weather. A day of no power if something gets crazy, but that's really all it ever means up here. That is not this time. Not what happened this time.
Not this time.
Not even a little bit. So Thursday it started raining, and we're like, okay, we picked up our, did the things that you normally do.
We elevated our suitcases in the basement so that at least. Because we knew that the basement would have a little bit of water in it, so we elevated some things so that we wouldn't have instant flooding on everything.
Right. Yep. Move some stuff, make sure animals were good. We've got the sheep, the dogs, the chicken, all the different things. We woke up Friday morning. Power kind of surged a couple times. We're like, oh, it's about normal.
Yeah, we were in the office.
Yeah, and we're like, oh, okay, that happens. I had videos that I got edited and had them uploading, and then our goal was for Helene to get through. The sun would come back over the weekend. We'd film all our videos, get everything up, and be good to go for a week of content.
We had actual genuine list of plans where we had them lined out, and we're like, oh yeah, we can hit this, and then we can do this, and oh my goodness, we're going to be ahead of schedule. This is going to be so fantastic.
Yep. And Feast of Trumpets coming up.
Yes.
Now tomorrow.
Oh my! I don't know what day of the week it even is. So like, it's,
oh wow! At time of filming, it starts tomorrow.
Oh wow!
So we had all this content filmed out, and our family celebration. We're going to pick up all the groceries over the weekend and be good to go. And then Friday we woke up. I got up and ready, and as soon as I finished getting ready to go in, I was going to walk with my mom, and we're going to start getting some stuff done in the house before we could film all weekend. The power went out, and it hasn't come back on. The rain was torrential. The winds went insane. Trees started coming down all over the property.
Not small trees.
Not small trees, massive trees. Nearly taking out our sheep. That was terrifying.
Oh yeah, the sheep pen is no longer a sheep pen.
Our driveway is nearly non-existent.
Most of it washed away. Like actual genuine concrete slabs just kind of picked up off the ground and went somewhere else.
Tree came down, blocked us into the driveway. We
Oh,
couldn't
yes.
get out
Yep.
initially. So all pandemonium broke loose.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's even crazier is then when we were able to finally get out, we were able to get my brother's truck out. Because remember, there's 14 of us here on the property.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to get my brother's truck out. And we said, okay, we'll go out. It doesn't look like power is going to be on today. Let us go out and see if we can pick up a couple supplies because, wow, this is much crazier
when
than
power
expected.
goes out here, we have zero water.
Right. We have a well.
There's no flushing toilets. There's no running sinks. There's no drinking water. There's nothing. There's no water.
No. And so we're like, okay, we'll run out and see what we can find. And then when we went out, we were out for over 5 hours.
Oh, yes.
Literally just to find a couple things around here. And the more we drove around, the more we were just like, oh my word, there are trees down everywhere. There are homes gone. Whole shopping centers and like parts of our town are underwater.
Yeah. Yep.
It's places that used to be fields driving by look like massive lakes.
Bridges are gone.
Whole power poles and transform just laid over on the ground. Live wires everywhere.
Oh, yes. Standing water and live wires.
Yeah, everywhere. It is absolutely insane. So
not what we expected.
No, not even a little bit.
Nope.
So yeah, that all is what's going on here. I'm very thankful though, because we have a lot of damage.
The surrounding towns.
The surrounding towns. There are some towns out here that have literally been wiped off the face of the map. They don't exist anymore.
They were literally landslid out. The whole town is gone.
Yeah. We've been blocked in. They literally shut down the interstate, so people can get out, but nobody can get in.
Yes.
Emergency vehicles only. We've had helicopters flying over the house all day.
That was such a weird thing. We had the giant military helicopters with the multiple rotors, and it shook everything. And then it's so quiet because there's nothing going that you just feel it more. And
even private pilots are going out. Like we saw, like NASCAR driver Greg Biffle. He's like, people are volunteering. So it's amazing to see the community come together in that way. People are going around offering help, doing all that they can, but it's just insane to be literally completely cut off. My mom lives up through the mountain. We cannot get to her. I mean, she's okay, thankfully. Betty. She's okay, but the dash hound found me. But the whole mountain pass to get over to her has been completely wiped out. I mean, it's just landslides everywhere. My poor stepdad and her, they're like, we can't even get to you guys. We can't even do anything. And we're like, I know, we're okay. So just kind of hunkering in, but it's crazy now because the house is filling with mold.
Yep.
Because you can't get all the water out. There's so much.
Everything is wet.
Everything is wet.
Everything is wet.
The ground is so wet, and then when it's a little bit warmer, so then it's heating up during the day, and it is just so much moisture, and you literally can't dry anything.
Nope.
You can't.
We've had fires attempting to go in a barrel to dry out wood, to then use that dried out wood in a smaller fire to then cook with.
Yeah.
Because everything is so wet.
We have to have multiple
everywhere.
fires to even dry out stuff.
Yeah.
To get to the point that we can stuff.
Yes.
So thankful for good friends of ours. Her husband is also a retired Marine. And so for him, he has been dying to find a way up here. And he was like, oh, I will find a path. And so he did, and he made it up here last night and brought supplies.
He brought water.
He brought water.
We were running incredibly low on water.
And there's no water up here.
There's no Walmart ran out of water day one. And they put out a memo.
I'm going to go get Jack. You can tell this story.
Water ran out day one at Walmart. And Walmart is pretty much the only grocery store that's open. There's no ice. There's no main supplies at all. So the fact that he brought water into us meant that we were not having to figure out how to boil and sanitize creek water, because that was going to be our only option, is creek water that had been sanitized because that's what we had. But he came up with like 15 gallons of water, which is just like
gallons. Huge.
It feels
Huge.
like it feels like Christmas, where oh my goodness, there's so much. That abundance feeling.
Yeah.
That's what the water. We're not just handing it out like that, but it's this. Oh, okay. Now we can do a little bit because we're not having to ration everything the same way.
So for our Have You Heard, this is our Have You Heard. Helene hit Western North Carolina. We are very thankful that in so many ways, a lot of real serious damage. We've got quite a bit to deal with, but there's many around us that have it far worse.
Yes.
And so really just praying for the community and all the support. Many of you, I try to post community updates as we could, ways that you can help. So we'll link all of that stuff down below. And there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be a long road to recovery.
Oh, we don't have cell service either.
Yeah.
So while there's no internet, there's actually no cell service. Well, there hasn't been. We now have the ability to like text because the state opened up something and we can now text one another. But nobody has cell service, so we can't call. We can't use internet at all. There's no 5G. There's no nothing. Nobody can use anything. So we didn't know the extent of anything.
Yeah.
Until you started driving around and talking to people.
We were like, oh wow, what? Like this is, so it's kind of just this really crazy thing. So we figured we'd film some stuff, and
sorry y'all, this is what you get. We are literally by a
burn barrel that we're tending.
Yes. We're in our outdoor chairs, which have saved the day.
They have
saved the day.
We found a way to get coffee, so that's been amazing.
Yes.
And we're expected to have no power for at least another week. They were estimating another month, but there are so many people coming in and helping, which is such a blessing, that they're thinking it'll be about another week, which is still insane to.
But we were excited. It's insane to think that we were excited about the news that it would be a week. We will have only a week without power.
Okay.
What? Okay. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Got it.
Instead of the month / months that they were predicting in the beginning, that was really scary.
It's kind of interesting because pretty much everywhere's already out of food.
Yes.
And stuff really isn't coming in. So we for sure have, I think, being careful, we could get through the week with what we were able to get yesterday. So we were able to get some stuff yesterday.
And there are twice as many of us than either family is completely accustomed to, because we're only a month of being 14.
Yeah.
So that's hard too, because neither one of us are accustomed or so used to just rationing for 14 people.
Yeah.
We're used to rationing for 7.
Yeah.
And now we're,
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot. So welcome to Happy Homemaking Hurricane Helene edition. This is our Have You Heard. As many of you have probably heard by now, all about the destruction that Hurricane Helene has brought to our home here in Western North Carolina. There's been destruction throughout Georgia, up into South Carolina, devastated all of Western North Carolina, and even up into Tennessee and parts of Virginia. This storm was catastrophic to our area. Towns around us that we've loved don't exist anymore. Our own property took a lot of damage, and there is so much to be done to help these sleepy little mountain towns even begin to recover from something that was so unbelievably unexpected. Well, we have shared about what has happened to our family. We've also shared about the efforts that we have been gathering to try to help those that need it the most. And if you are looking for any way that you can help real people affected by these storms, especially in a time where not only was it so dangerous, so damaging, but we've also had the smallest response from any sort of government organization out there. The only real help that is actually happening here in the area has come from the community, has come from the citizens here, has come from our churches and local groups. And I think that is something that is so beautiful when we have an opportunity to truly live out our faith, to be the church and to pour into those who need it most. And so again, if you're looking for any way that you can help support those affected by Hurricane Helene, we have many different resources linked down in the description. We're raising funds, we are gathering resources, and if you are someone here locally in need, you can also fill out a form so that way we can start directing these supplies we're receiving to you and all the families that need so much after this devastation has come through and wiped out so many homes, so many towns, and so many lives. Thank you all. We appreciate your prayers, your love, and support. Again, check out all of those donation options down below. Please share with businesses, with churches, with groups and communities. This cleanup process, this recovery process is going to be a very long road ahead. And so keep sharing, keep spreading the word. And thank you so much for all the prayer and love and encouragement as our family and our community here of Heavenly Minded Home does all that we can to invest in others. So on our next segment, what's for dinner?
So whatever we can find. That's what's for dinner. Whatever we can find.
So this week, well, whenever you guys see this, because I don't know when we're gonna have internet to get anything out, but we had this. It's kind of comical in this whole thing, is we had planned out what we were going to do for Yom Teruah, Feast of Trumpets, because it's the fall feast, it's the holy days, it's such an exciting time of year. We pulled out your husband's grandparents' wedding china. I'm talking gorgeous, beautiful, like I was almost hysterical in tears at how lovely this all was. Vintage china.
I might have pulled up a box that was still wrapped in 1996 newspaper.
Right, because that's how like they had preserved it and then tucked it all away nice and safe. And
we had gotten it, and my husband, he was like, I don't know what to do with this. So it sat in a box and it's weighted.
And we were like, we will pull this out. This will be our Yom Teruah like china. This is going to be gorgeous. We're so excited. We're going to have a lovely meal, just a time of celebration. We'll film it all and share with you guys about what our dinner is going to be. And now we are not doing any of that. So our what's for dinner, this is an interesting thing though, because I cannot believe how much it has cost us since the hurricane hit to just survive, because we are very frugal families.
Oh, absolutely.
That we plot and plan, so we know exactly what we're getting, exactly what we're spending. I mean, I was doing our carnivore meals at we were doing like just over 200. It was like 200 for meals and then just a little over for like supplies. But I mean, we were like down to a science.
Oh, yeah.
And now with this, you're having to get whatever you can, because you're thinking, what can I cook that doesn't take water, that doesn't take power, that doesn't, even the things like I had a little camping stove, so we got the little propane, but then you're even thinking like, well, what can cook the fastest on it so we're not burning through the fuel, because we don't know how long it will be. What can we cook over an open flame? You start going through this, and what can we find enough of in the store to cover 14 people needing to eat? That's like, and then a lot of pieces.
And then how at the same time do you utilize the things that are going to inevitably spoil in your refrigerator because we have no power? And in the freezer. So how do we use the things that we already have? Because if we don't use them, they're waste. Like we're wasting it. And we had already planned to use those things, but strategically, and now we have no power, so now we have to use them all right now.
So like the first day we were able to find, my brother literally got the last charcoal, where our Lowe's is completely underwater. One Lowe's in a town over was open. My brother went in and he found the last charcoal grill they had, and like the last couple bits. That's how we got that.
I wasn't sure where it came from.
Because we use an electric Blackstone, because that's what we love, and it makes it so much more efficient to just plug it in and not have to keep replacing charcoal or propane.
Until a disaster happens with electricity,
which you normally don't have to deal with up in the mountains, but here we are. So our first day was literally we went through the fridge and said, okay, what has already de-thawed? That's what we're eating today. And so, because we have our families combined, my husband stood at the charcoal grill for hours cooking all the meat that had already de-thawed. Your husband stood at another burn barrel, boiling all the water. He could. So we had two dads, each manning a fire, essentially, one for food, one for water. The first day, Brandon cooked everything that had already thawed. So we just had kids, here's what it is. This is what you got.
It was not a meal. It was a bunch of food.
It was a buffet of meats.
And that's fine.
It worked.
It's dinner. Everybody was satisfied. But please do not think of meals.
Yeah.
It was more like, here is some varieties of meat. Here's
what we have left that needs to get eaten. Good luck. So yesterday, Brandon did everything that had still been frozen on the first day. He did that. Wait, no, first day we didn't. Okay, hold on, I'm off. So second day was him cooking what was left in the fridge. First day was actual hurricane day. Alan and I were out scouting for food.
We had the one.
There was one thing of ground beef.
He had to look, I remember now, he had to find the propane camping stove because he couldn't find it. He had never used it before.
Because we bought it. Oh, do you know that we bought that for a hurricane that we were expecting to get when we first moved into this house? We bought that propane stove just in case, and we've never used it.
I've seen it on some of your videos where you would move it because you said it was your emergency stove.
We've never needed to use it.
We've
had it for almost 10 years. So we've lived here for over 9 years. And we bought it in case of a hurricane when we first moved up here. And then
moral of the story, no matter where you live, invest in some kind of camping stove.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had that. And so that was great.
He cooked. He didn't know how to light it because he had never used it.
We've never used it, yeah.
And my husband we've had propane stoves before. So he's like, oh no, I got this. I know how to do this stuff. So they figured out how to light it and use it to cook ground beef. And then you were going to bring home any supplies that you could find to match ground beef.
That was night one.
Yeah.
And we didn't eat until ridiculously late.
It was like 10:30.
Any lights we could.
We were all eating by candle.
After we do this, we need to get our solar lights and charge them.
Oh, yeah.
Not yet either.
Okay.
Thank you, solar yard lights and the bistro lights you had, because we've been trying to solar light it up. But then we did he cooked all the meat that was already de-thawed. Then yesterday we cooked all the meat that was
frozen before
and now had de-thawed. And so it's so funny when that comes where you're like, our kids are kind of loving it because, of course, trying to find shelf-safe things.
We don't eat a lot of shelf-safe.
We don't. That's not what us do. And so I walked in with Pop-Tarts, cereal. I mean, all the junk food that, like, please don't anyone eat. But then it was like crackers, like the things like that you're like, what can we have that, like, 9 kids who are working, the kids are out here all day collecting sticks, chopping down trees, like doing all of these, older kids, younger kids, but like they're out expelling energy. So then they're like ravenous.
Yes.
So like, what are some things that I know it's not going to provide like deep nutrients, but at least it will give them something to eat.
Yes.
And it's just crazy. So our kids, my youngest ones specifically, are struggling because they're like, this is amazing. Look at all this amazing food. And we're like, no, this is junk. Like, so they're kind of living the time of their lives. At least they'll probably think back fondly.
You know those memes where they show you the core memory from like a parent's perspective and then the core memory from a child's perspective?
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be one of those core memories from a child's perspective that the parent has a very different opinion about.
Yeah. Like, we bathed in the creek, we ate Pop-Tarts.
We were outside all the time by fires. It was fantastic.
Yeah. So our what's for dinner, we were able to find a bunch of hot dogs, which is great. Those can be cooked over an open
hot
flame.
Dogs.
We found stuff that beans, so we could make like a chili, because that can sit over the flame and just kind of go at it, all day. But it's definitely very Little House on the Prairie of like, what food can we make out of these few random things that we have found? So our menu plan, our whatever, it's literally been, but it is, and it's so sad because you're going through the store and everybody's doing it. Everybody's just trying to find, and the
Anything.
stores are pretty much bare. There's not much left. We got what we could. Like we said, we had friends who brought stuff up. So I think we'll be okay. We've got a little bit we can handle, and then hopefully power will be restored.
If we're at a week, we can do this for a week. If we're at a month, everything becomes harder.
Yeah.
Morale starts dipping.
Yeah.
So at a week, we could do this for a week. We got it covered. We can eat weird things.
Everybody pitch in. We'll get there.
It'll be fine to eat something weird for a week during an emergency, even if you eat strictly one way, not allergies.
Right.
Come on now.
Like, I worry about my mom. My mom is diabetic and has celiac disease. So like my mom can't just eat whatever.
If we brought her boxes of Pop-Tarts, it would be a no bueno.
Right.
No.
At least for her, where she's at, her town was hit pretty hard, but they can get to surrounding areas that weren't as badly hit. So like she's okay, which I'm thankful for. But like when we were going through looking at our stuff and how cut off we are, I'm like, for people that do have, that's
any
really
medical genuine problems.
Right.
This is way harder.
Right.
We don't have any real allergy. Our husbands both have very real allergies, but there's not real allergies to Pop-Tarts.
Right. Right. There should be. Bless you.
So sorry.
Okay. But it is, and it's so. What's for dinner? Yeah. Do we normally eat a very specific way because we believe that what we fuel our bodies with is really important? Absolutely. Do we have that luxury right now?
Not even a little bit.
Not at all.
Nope.
And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, fed is what we're going for, and so
this is a time to survive.
Yeah.
And like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
Another day through is what we're going for. So what's for dinner this week? Whatever we can possibly finagle together, because we have a bucket of food anchored down in the creek, keeping it cold, and that's what we have. Now, for all of you here who have heard me talking about my Primal Queen beef organ supplements, yes, you're going to hear this out today. One, because this is amazing. I've been using it for months. I continued to take it even during our chaos of Hurricane Helene for many different reasons, but one especially in this season for me, with high stress, being outdoors, dealing with everything going on, but also for the months coming ahead of cold and flu season. Nothing has boosted my immune system like taking these supplements. I have seen so many results from them, and honestly, I keep seeing more each additional month that I'm taking them. So yes, are they amazing? Do I believe in them? Am I still taking them? Many of you have asked. Yes, I have, and yes, I'm going to continue. They are phenomenal. But I also want to add in here this point for anybody wanting to find a way to help support our family, heavenly minded home in our efforts here with restoring ourselves, but also restoring our community after Hurricane Helene has come through and wiped out everything in Western North Carolina. You can do so simply by ordering your own Primal Queen supplements. They switched out, they have a new system, and for anybody who goes and creates a new account at Primal Queen using my link down below, you can type in my special code organs and save 25% off of your order, which is an amazing deal. And then Primal Queen will actually go ahead and gift us a little bit of a kickback to help these efforts of continuing to build up, pay it forward, and to not only spread the word of good, natural, God honest to goodness health and healing through using beef organs, but also being able to raise some of these funds to help all of the restoration needed so greatly here in Western North Carolina. So again, I'm taking them. I'm loving them. I've got family, friends taking them. I mean, we're really seeing the day-to-day health benefits, especially with the boost to our immune systems and everything going on. And when you sign up for a new account, put all your info in there, use my code ORGANS so that way you can save a 25%. Sign up for your subscription here today, give it a test run and see how well it works for you as well, while being able to pay it forward and help a great cause at the same time. So Primal Queen is a win for me, and if it can be a blessing to you, you know it. I have it linked down below.
I don't don't even know what you're doing with this.
I'm just going through the
I know, but
planned
what did
one.
we plan? Because now you're giggling, and I'm like, wait,
well, because
why?
our next segment for Happy Homemaking is our greatest home struggle.
Life, surviving, electricity.
You know, because we said this, and I'm like, if we could just get power back, like
Power means water.
Power means water.
And
comfy, Lois.
The ability to cook indoors without so much effort being exuded.
It's the fact that everything is down. We don't have power. We don't have water. We don't have internet. We don't have cell service. We don't have transportation. Only one vehicle, my brother's truck that holds at most 3 people, is the only thing that can even kind of get out. Our driveway, what's left of it, the little smidge, like we don't check. So, greatest home struggle besides dogs and keeping a fire alive.
Normalcy.
Oh, here comes more.
Normalcy is the biggest struggle.
It is. Because I said, I was like, genuinely, if we could just like,
any ounce of normalcy
could come back,
any bit, like electricity is normal. Being able to walk into a room and flick on a light to go to the bathroom, that's normal.
Honestly, I would take the water.
Oh yeah.
Even if like our electricity is tied to our water because we have a well. But I feel like if we could just get water.
Running water is so essential, and you don't even realize it until it's gone. But if we could wash clothes, because then we would have water, that would be amazing, because it would stink to line dry everything. But because it's overcast today, and like we have storms still coming in, and nothing's real.
Because today was supposed to be our go down to the creek and wash laundry. Yeah. But like we're still going to have to, because
otherwise we're going to end up with a bucket of mold.
Yeah.
That's what we would end up with.
And it's so crazy, because it's like so many things in the house are getting destroyed with us not having power because we can't get the moisture out. Like I'm looking at so many of like our appliances and different things already, and I'm like, oh man, that's all going to be toast, because we can't do anything.
But there's literally nothing we can do about it right now at all.
No. And so it is, I think, like greatest home struggle.
Seeing the problems and not being able to address them is a ridiculously frustrating endeavor, and it makes everything harder, because you see all of the financial investments that we've all made over the years, and the setting up of things, and then we can't maintenance them, we can't fix them, we can't take care of any of the stuff because we physically cannot. There's nothing, there are no fans to dry anything out, there's no sun to dry anything out. We've built as many fires as we can manage because every bit of wood is wet. Soaked. Even the stuff that we like scrounged to make as dry as possible,
it's still damp.
Everything is damp when you wake up. And
well, and it's crazy too, looking at like how hard you work. Like I remember reading with the kids the Little House on the Prairie books, right? And like Ma has her cooking day, her laundry day, it's like, yeah, because you need all day. Like yesterday we spent all day just getting wood dry.
Yep.
That's literally like essentially all that was accomplished, and even then it's only enough for probably today.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, we squeegeed some of the basement.
Yeah, again. Because water's still seeping in because there's so much in the ground.
Yes.
It just keeps coming. It's crazy how that piece of it where you're like, I just want to be able to take care of something, but like you can't. So you do the best that you can and you make the most of it. But it's literally sitting around and being like, oh wow, so much is ruined.
I guess there's always a piece of me that wants to beat myself up about, I should have thought about the possibility of this happening, and I should be better prepared. And so then I want to beat myself up over not being prepared enough. And like, oh man, I should have, if only I would have done this different. I'm the biggest idiot because, man, how did I not think of that? Well, there is no way we could have thought of any of this.
No.
No. We could have thought of one of these, but not all of these. And now we're just dealing with it, and it's difficult, and the mindset is we cannot beat ourselves up.
No,
over
absolutely
the things.
not. I mean, there was no no preparing for it. But again, even if you're not going through a hurricane, I mean, it really is interesting because I think sometimes it is that it's when you lose on normalcy in life, like that in itself is what the struggle is. Like if you could still get one piece, like
when they shut down in 2020, it was everybody was just seeking any bit of normalcy, and it was that everything shut down at the same time, and everybody like panicked because, oh no, well, what do I do with the things? This is kind of like a micro version of that, but less fear mongering in society.
And we have toilet paper.
We do. We actually, when we went to Walmart, we did head down that aisle just to double check because we wanted to see.
Yeah,
no, there was fully stocked.
Yeah,
guys, they're fully stocked. It's okay.
No food, but toilet paper. But it's funny. Like Brandon kind of laughed at me the first night because I was out there dunking my face in a bucket of creek water and doing my skincare routine. And I'm like, no, at least if I haven't showered in 4 days, I haven't whatever, like I'm at least going to feel like my skin, my face like feels clean. I can't put my whole body in this bucket. I mean, we're going to have to head down to the creek and start bathing in the creek. So we got to work on that too. It's on our list, but I can wash my face and I can put my skincare on and feel at least somewhat like a person. I put my head in a bucket yesterday and at least washed my hair because I
laughed really hard when she told me this. She came up to me and she goes, feel my hair. It's so soft. It's creek water. And I was, or rainwater. Yeah. And I was like, wait, what? Oh, you literally washed your hair in a bucket, didn't you? Sure did. She did. She absolutely did. Yep. But it made her feel more normal. It gave you that little sense of stability. It's almost like a morale boost. Yeah. You needed just a little morale boost, that sense of normalcy, and then you were like, I can do this.
Go on those days with dirty hair, and then from being out in the hurricane, tending to the animals, and just
I was picking leaves out of your hair in Walmart.
I know. You were.
That's a genuine thing. So,
I mean, it was what it was, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna wash my hair and I'm gonna wash my face. And I'm gonna do what I can, right? Those little things. But even it's funny because like coming out to make, because I'm like, I'm gonna make us a cup of coffee like I normally do in the morning. Now it is a much different process, and we are gonna talk with kids because somebody used the only pot I have to make coffee to make top ramen last night, but then it didn't get cleaned. So then this morning I was like, so then because I want our coffee to taste like top ramen. So I was like, okay, so maybe we might have one rule. This pan can't be the top ramen pan because I had to go a whole new step. It's already now this like 30-minute process in the morning to get to a cup of coffee. So I'm like, okay, one rule. This pan can't be used for top ramen, right? Because it's just silly that like that bit of not being able to do that one piece, was just like, this is ridiculous. Like you feel so silly, but it's like, I just want that one piece of normalcy where I'm going to make a cup of coffee. It might not be the best, but it's something.
We drank the day the hurricane and every power and all the things were poopy. You brought me a cup of coffee at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And you're like, I finally got our cup of coffee. Here you go. I got it for
my
us.
head was pounding. I thought my eyeballs were going to pop out of my head. You're just like, stupid. Why do I drink coffee? Because now my head hurts. And I'm so migraine prone anyways. You have all your issues. So I'm like, we're doing it, man. So greatest home struggle this week would be all of life. Because literally all of it is that piece of, somebody's going somewhere.
Helen and the kids are,
Okay. Well, some of our people are going somewhere. Surprise to us. But yeah, that's definitely our greatest home struggle this week.
Absolutely.
All of it.
Yes.
A huge way that you can help our family and our community as we pour in for all the recovery here after Hurricane Helene honestly can be done by you just doing your same normal things that you do anyways. What I mean by this is we have a Walmart account and I share on it many different things that our family uses and loves all the time. When you shop using any of our special links down below, you click on that link, go buy any of the things that we've suggested, buy anything else you might have on your normal order that you're placing with Walmart anyways, have it delivered, do a pickup order, just place your order online, and Walmart even pays a little bit of affiliate income back to us, which we then can take and pour right back into the community here that needs it most. And so I want to encourage you all to check out our links to our Walmart storefront. You can peruse around the different things that our family uses and loves and recommends, some of my favorite grocery options, different household items that we use, homeschool resources, even some fun dresses and more. We have it all linked over there. You can shop through our things, add whatever things you have to the cart, get your pickup order or your delivery, and you'll be also helping our cause here in Western North Carolina, building up our community and restoring from Hurricane Helene simply by getting on and doing your own thing. And bonus, it doesn't cost you an extra penny more. You're getting the stuff you'd be getting anyways. And so for everybody using our Walmart link, clicking on that, sharing it with others, we greatly, greatly appreciate you. And you are adding in here to the effort to do so much good in a community that needs it so desperately right now. So thank you. Keep clicking those links, passing them on, and helping everyone out in the process. So I hate to do a repeat of this. Our next segment is what are you studying? Which we talked about in the first one, how you just moved, you're going through, we're like, I'm not studying anything, and that's the problem. Like, I need to get into stuff. And then we started a series. We started Ecclesiastes in the membership group.
Yep.
I have the second video recorded and edited, and it was uploading the night, like the hurricane started hitting, like before the hurricane started hitting.
Yep.
It got to 9 minutes left.
Yep.
When our power went out over the night, the first time over the night. And because it kept flickering off and on, but once it went out, the computer was out, internet went out. And so the second video that everybody needs is literally trapped in my computer with no power with 9 minutes left to go.
Yes. So I don't know where I was, but I was able to pick up signal for a small amount of time, and the page loaded, because sometimes you can pick up signal, but the pages don't load at all. I saw that it actually says upload canceled on.
Give it up. No.
I saw that, and I had never seen that label on one of your YouTube videos before.
This has never happened before.
It's never happened.
No.
It says upload canceled with an exclamation point beside of it. I was like, oh snap, that's no good.
Yeah. So that stinks. We'd started an Ecclesiastes study.
Yep.
Which I thought would be so fun to have.
We had plans. There were plans. They were made.
But I think it's been kind of neat to see, I know like storms are one of those things that I feel like are so amazing because you see God's power so clearly, right? Like you think of all those like biblical,
how tiny we are.
Yeah.
And how big God has to be to wield any of what just happened to us.
Right.
Like he had no problem wielding a hurricane that hit at a category 4.
Yeah.
He had zero problem wielding it.
Yeah.
And we are so microscopic that the rain affected us.
Right.
Like,
right.
It's weird. But like that's how we're taking it, and not beating ourselves up for not studying as much as we should by candlelight.
I know. Because it is, but it's been so amazing to see, like, we live in the South, and so you see so much of what Christian life should be. I feel like coming from California, it's very different out here. We're originally from California, you're from California, like freshly from California. So like it is so different anyways, which is amazing. But seeing like the churches, pouring into the community, just the people that few people have gotten power, and they're posting, hey, who needs to come over? Who needs what? Like people going around with their own equipment, helping one another, like living out, like there's this like you can be book smart all day, but that doesn't mean that like you connect it in real life. You know what I mean? Like you live it out, you actually go through it,
There's a difference between knowing it and practicing it.
Yeah.
Because you can know all of the things. You can have all of the knowledge and not be a good person.
Right.
you can have all of the knowledge of how to do something and still be lazy and not go and do it.
Right. So, but it is, and sometimes it is. It's like you spend so much. I know, like we know some people. My husband, some of the people he's worked with, they're the smartest theologians you've ever met in your life. They could tell you everything about everything.
Do you mean those people who reference Bible verses by the scripture instead of just saying the verse, because I can only remember the verse, not
Right.
where it's found and all of the things.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're the ones who just like quote it
Oh, yeah. And
willy-nilly.
they have the doctrinal everything
yeah.
and all this. And that's
Okay,
amazing.
yes.
But then there's like the real life, like pastoral side of it, of like the actual tending the flock and being with the
The
people
living it out.
that is just, they get it in theory, but it's
Yeah.
like, okay, but in the, like down in the trenches with the people, it doesn't always come out that same way. Like
No.
you're right in what you're saying, but like there's this missing piece of it.
You're right. There's a very large disconnect between the knowing of biblical information.
Which is very important,
Absolutely. We should all know it, because unless you know it, you can't live it.
right?
You can't live something unless you've been unless you know it.
Right.
So you have to know it.
Yeah.
But then you have to, it's going from the knowing to the doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the action is
Mm-hmm.
very, very important. And I think a lot of those actional things are missed.
Mm-hmm.
The living it out, the daily helping, the ministering to people who are literally standing on their roofs because they're flooded and they can't get out, and you happen to have a boat.
Yeah.
Well, why would I not help people if I have a boat? Like,
yeah.
So there's a large disconnect. In California, there's a very large disconnect. I mean, we have fire season every year for most of the year.
Yeah.
And there's not as many helpers as there are here. Civilian helpers, not like government or military or nothing
Right.
like that, but like people helping people.
Neighborly.
There's not as much of that in California. People are really kind of worried about their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when a fire happens, people get out with hoses and they hose down their own house.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to matter if the whole neighborhood goes up,
Yeah.
because that little bit of water you threw on your roof isn't good enough for a giant fire. You actually should have been squirting down the whole neighborhood, because then the fire wouldn't hit there, and you should gather your neighbors to be like, come on neighbors, come out, get out, let's all fireproof our houses, water, let's go. And it's not communal like that. It's very singular, individual. And out here it's very communal.
Very communal, yeah.
Network, not like business network, but like communal network.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have this person, you need that thing, no problem, I'll connect you with that person. Networking.
Yeah.
But community.
And I think that's kind of been an interesting thing to see, while we're not necessarily like sitting down and studying in a traditional sense one would think of, the conversations we've gotten to have with our kids, seeing our kids band together and be a community, seeing them work through their things, and again, the living it out.
Watching your youngest, because she's 6, she is not as physically capable as some of the other children. Like, she's just not. She's 6. She's got a 6-year-old body. She can only lift 6-year-old body things. So watching her sit out here and cheer people on is fantastic.
It really is cute.
Go you! You're doing such a good job.
The boys are bringing up massive
fire.
Tree branches.
Wow, you guys are so strong.
Like,
you can carry so much. Wow. And that like morale boost and encouragement of a 6-year-old being just cheerful and, you can do this, you got this, we can, oh, we're doing it, yay, kind of attitude is remarkable to watch. But that was kind of instilled in her and then caught through the attitude, and it really significantly helps. And then we get to encourage the other children, and it's different than studying.
Right.
Like we're not just saying, oh no, just go do this instead. No. But it is an important piece to follow through with what you know and what you learn.
And to live that out in every opportunity, right? Like, we could be overwhelmed, we could be stressed, we could be sad at all the things that are ruined, we could be like, we could let that consume us, or we could live it out and say, hey, right, you hold everything with an open hand. If you have it, you have it. And if the Lord takes it, he takes it. You're right. Most everything in there is molded. Most everything is now going to have to be trash. Almost everything is going to have to somehow get replaced. We don't have a driveway. We can't even move vehicles. I mean, we could go on and on and on with the list of things, but like we could get, like, I don't know how it's all going to get replaced. I don't know how we're going to rebuild it all from here. Right? Like, those are a lot of very overwhelming, not fun things. You know, I only, like, we make money from uploading content and doing all the things we do online. We don't have power, and the internet people literally told us, like, internet is a far distant, like, power is so messed up right now that they're like, well, you'll get internet when you get internet. We don't know how long that'll be.
It's pretty bad when the energy company doesn't tell you an estimated date.
Yeah.
But then the internet company tells you, well, our date is determined by the electricity company's date. So whatever they say, add some time to that.
Right. So, like, we look at it, and for those of us, you know, for my husband and I, all of our money we make comes off of, we do everything online. So we have, I mean, it's scary to think. That's why I posted, I was like, hey, if anybody wants to keep watching videos, share videos, like things like that, because I mean, our views come from
comment, share, subscribe, what, please,
all the things.
Because yes,
that's how that comes in. Everybody in the property that has a physical job will not be going to work for a very long time. I mean, the damage that's been done, like, there's nothing. So, like, when you start to look on that side of it, it's like, oh, wow.
We were barely surviving with what we had and the resources that we were getting. And now bridges have been washed out to get to job sites.
Whole roads are
and
gone.
We don't know when the bridges will be built again to get into that job. Buildings were underwater, so all of their stock is ruined, and there are no trucks to bring in new stock because all the roads are washed away. So we don't know when those jobs are going to have anything.
So it is. It's one of those where it's like, and that could be the information that we're being consumed by and what we're sharing with our others, or we can say, hey, this is what we have. Let's make the most of it. We're keeping the house tidy. We're using, luckily, I used to be a wedding planner, so most of the candles and things I have are old wedding supplies. So
I was in the basement and I just happened to see a box on a shelf, and I pulled it out and there were tea light candles in it.
But they're the good ones for weddings, so they last 6 hours because you don't want your candles going out in the middle of your wedding.
I didn't know 6-hour tea lights existed, so I was assuming they were just regular tea lights, and there was a box of them, so I was really excited because there was a box of them. But then I pulled them out and Heidi was like, oh no, these are 6-hour tea lights, and everything changed. Oh, we can have a light in the bathroom for when it's really dark and like kids have to go and get changed or do the,
So now we have like gold glittery candles all over. So it's like life, I truly believe life is as lovely as we choose to see it. And I believe that even though I have no power or water, haven't showered,
we don't know,
and our life is
back.
literally in there falling apart, but it's still as lovely as we choose to see it. And so when we live that out, even in the hardest of times, right?
Yes.
Like that's not just being book smart, but being like street smart, you know, in that way of like, let's take what promise God gives us that we know because we study his word, and let's live that out in front of our spouse, in front of our children, in front of our friends, in front of our community.
It says that all of this is going to wash away to begin with. It's all going to burn. It's all going to dissolve. Moths are going to eat your wool. Like, it's just going to happen. So biblically, you're not supposed to care a great ton about it. We use it because we have to live on earth.
And we're responsible with it, obviously. Like, you tend things and do that. But it's one thing to always say, hey, it all goes in the end. You don't take nothing with you. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to live it. And I think that is so important.
Yes, that's what it is. Because the people are important, and the mold in a bucket of clothing is not life-threatening.
Homes can get restored, things can get replaced. I mean, it's difficult. I don't even know how it's all going to come together, right? That's another problem for another day.
No, we got no idea.
But like, it is what it is. Our people are safe. You know, our animals made it. You know, even with some really scary close calls. Very scary, close calls. We had some injuries, but nothing life-threatening or, extreme in any way, shape, or form. And
Nope.
so you wake up, you give God the praise, and you continue on in whatever it is. And so what are we studying? Well, we're studying the living out the truth and the promise of God's word. That's what we're studying this week.
Yep.
Even if it's not what we had planned, or we're trying to upload to YouTube when we got canceled out with 9 minutes left. Like, are you serious? 9 minutes. But again,
this is life.
This is life. And this is, God knew this is where we were going to be, and there's a purpose and a reason for it. And that's why we're going to share, because he had a purpose for it. I don't understand it all, but
because we had the plan. We had everything planned out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We sat and had a collective, let's do this. We can get this organized and set in place. And we had all the plans right. And then God thought something different. And his plans rule, and our plans are just pieces of paper.
Yeah. And so this is what we got. That's what we're studying this week. I want to pause real quick and invite you to come and join me over in the HMH Collective. That's our membership group right here on YouTube, where we are going through and doing a 12-week study, living out our faith as a Proverbs 31 woman and building up godly habits in the reality of the day-to-day. And I know, especially here and now, with structures falling apart, flood damage, tree damage, everything we have going on after Hurricane Helene, this really has still been such a blessing. We're working on these habits. We're having amazing discussions. We're doing a Bible reading challenge. We're going through sermons. We're having this amazing private community where we can encourage one another and build one another up. And what a perfect time of year, in whatever storm of life you might have been going through, to take a little bit of time to reset, refocus, and build up godly habits in your life. So I'd love it if you would want to come and join me for this study, as we're going to cover so much. I'll link additional resources down below. Click the join button, and with a monthly donation, as little as just $5 a month, you're supporting our ministry and the efforts we have here, while getting not only this study, the booklet, the sermons, the Bible reading, the private community, but every series we've ever done as well. There's so many resources over there that we truly pray can be a blessing to you in your life. So come over and join us here while we work on building up these godly habits for 12 weeks, digging in, understanding what Scripture has to say about it, and how we can practically apply these things each and every day, live out our faith, and see the Lord work in our lives through our faithfulness. Amen? I'll see you over there. So our last segment here of Happy Homemaking Hurricane Helene edition is our personal point. Again, we had planned out all of our segments when everything went to whatever.
When we had electricity, we planned them all out. So
now I wrote down what the segments were in a notebook, and we're just flying by the seat of our pants, which in honesty is like my favorite thing to do anyways. Not Sabrina's.
Not even a little bit. We're very, very different people. We have the same core values, and that's why this works. But we approach things highly differently.
Completely, like opposites.
Yes.
Opposites attract here, definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yep.
We're not. Personal point: surviving a disaster and keeping yourself from not melting down. Because let's just be honest, Mom really does lead set the tone of the home.
1,000%. 1,000%.
So I know I mentioned I did things like still did my skincare and found a way to make coffee. Like for me, those were and I washed my hair in a bucket of rainwater. Like those for me were like personal points of like, I'm going to do this. So at least I feel I'm not going to focus on the fact that I haven't been able to take a shower. I haven't, like last night we were talking, I'm like, I just want to take a hot shower. I just want, I had that moment of like, I'm so tired. Everything hurts.
There were some adults throwing around the fact that there may be truck stops that have showers. Like that's how desperate some of the adults in the family are getting to feel normal.
Yeah.
So that was thrown out last night. I remember hearing that.
I plan on putting on my swimsuit today and braving the snakes in the creek to go take a shower, bath, creek, whatever we're going to call.
You're going to bathe.
You're going to bathe in the creek.
You're going to bathe.
Yep. I told the kids, I was like, y'all, we're going to collectively go down there. We'll clear us a nice path. Everybody put on your swimsuit. We're going to bathe in the creek. so at least everybody can get clean. But like, um, I think another thing that I have found that's made me feel at least somewhat was like having the boys to haul water up from the creek, because it is quite a haul to get water. We do
Yes.
have a creek on our property, but it is
Which
a
has
haul
been,
to get
it
it
has been
here.
a lifesaver
It
just to
is.
have the creek. That has been such a genuine blessing.
It is to have a water source and a
Yes.
clean water source.
Yes.
It's also a dangerous water source, but having that is a blessing. It is a haul to get it here. It is not
No.
easy to get it here. Having that though yesterday, like your husband was boiling water,
Yeah.
Brandon was cooking, we had the water coming up, like being able to wash things and at
We
least
had buckets. This is total
Yeah.
like home camping edition.
yeah.
There are buckets sitting on plastic tables outside so that dishes could be washed
Yeah.
with boiled creek water.
Mhm.
Because it was boiled creek water is better than dirty dishes being left in your sink to spoil further. And that's what we got. So that's what we got. And it's fantastic. But it was kind of normal,
Yeah.
at least to be able
At least
to.
that was done. My brother kind of laughed at me yesterday because I was going around and fixing the pillows and folding the blanket, because people are sleeping on all the couches and doing things, but I was folding up the blankets and fixing the pillows, and he was like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Hey, it allows." My overwhelm is very much triggered by the house being a mess.
1,000%. I think environmental space for moms is so monumentally important. And I know I feel the exact same way. I was in with the basement flooding. Your brother had stuff in there,
Because
and
his room is in the basement.
he was very worried about some of his stuff molding.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has dirt bike boots, and
they're expensive.
They're very expensive in comparison to something that you want just ruined.
Yeah.
So he brought them in, and then I started turning around. We have a very teeny tiny itty bitty trailer, and so now all of a sudden I had lots of things in the space, and we couldn't walk through it. And then it was getting darker, and I'm going, oh no, I'm going to trip and fall, and then I'm going to be frustrated, and this is going to go downhill fast. So I quickly went through and I picked up all of the things that were out on the floor, and I cleaned off on one of the counters so that when they walked in, they could set their stuff on the counter instead of on the floor where I walk. And then I put your brother's boots in the bathroom, and he apologized profusely. Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot them here. Oh my goodness. No, it's fine that they're here. I want them to be safe. I was just letting you know that I put them in here.
I'm putting them somewhere away,
so that they're safe. But now you can't see them, so they're still safe, but they're in here. So yeah, I did the same kind of thing where I went through and like slightly normalized my space so that people could walk through to get the item they were looking for and then walk out, because they were usually on a mission for something else around the property.
Well, like last night, by the time our friends were able to get here to bring us supplies, it was dark. You can't, and it's like an eerie dark, because the whole town is black. So there is no light pollution coming from anything anywhere.
There are no neighboring lights through the forest trees. There are no street lights. There are no city lights. The distance does not glow from a town in any capacity.
And I mean, we already live pretty much out in the country, so we don't have a ton of stuff anyways. So then when you even take that away, it's like, oh wow, there's nothing. And so we got everything in, because your girls even asked last night, because we had a chore system we set up, and my girls did the morning stuff, your girls did the evening stuff. They asked me last night, they're like, what do we, and I'm like, nothing, don't even worry about it tonight. We can't see, no one can see. We're all exhausted because we've all been hauling water, hauling trees, hauling sticks, hauling, like sitting around a fire, tending a fire all day to keep it going, all of those things. But today I'm like, okay, we're gonna sit down and do this. We drink our coffee, and then we're gonna get in there, because it's like, it feels kind of silly, but like I've made sure I've swept the house every day.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, when the floors are disgusting, it drives me crazy. Well, I can't do much about that, but I can sweep them. I can organize the supplies to the best of our ability, that we still have some level of normalcy. Yes, I'm going to come out, I'm going to wash my face and brush my teeth each morning, even if it's some creek water in a cup, like, you want to talk about waking up in the morning, like, you splash your face in one of those creek buckets, I'm like, woo, I don't even need the coffee. Minus the headache, I don't even need the coffee. But then I think it's been kind of neat because while we've both been doing some of these things of like, how do you still find, we all sat around last night around the fire. Your husband had his guitar and was playing us music. Like,
it was total amazing, cozy camping atmosphere last night. Last night was amazing. We had a literal bonfire trash barrel thing going. It had fire coming out of it, and it was warm because it gets a little chilly.
It is
so chilly. It's a little bit warm. My husband pulled out his guitar and was just tinkering around with it. We were just all sitting here conversating, but it was like a cozy, comfortable atmosphere, opposed to, we got to do all the things. Where's the wood? Hurry, gather the sticks. Fires. Oh no, water. It was, nope, it's dark. We can't do anything that we should be doing. So let's gather morale. And let's build that up, because morale, I genuinely think that morale is a huge piece to everything. Huge, huge piece to so many things.
I agree. And I think too, even the things that I'm sure we'll talk about this in future ones, but the things that we've gathered from this, that even, with the kids as a family, we're like, I like this. I don't like the having no power and having no water and like our lives being in shambles. I don't like that piece of it. But there are definite pieces. I feel like there's something to glean from everything we go through in life.
Absolutely.
There's always something to glean. There's always a blessing and a lesson that God gives us. And there are definite pieces in this that I'm like, ooh.
How irresponsible would we be if we did not learn or gather knowledge from what we've had to experience?
Absolutely.
Oh, that would be horrific.
And so there's definite things in this that we're like, Lord, I hear you. I'm taking note of this. Like, okay, I would like to be able to flush my toilet. I would like to be able to have my fridge working. Like, there are key components, but we kind of laugh. My friend said, she's like, well, hey, I mean, you always were into off-grid stuff. You wanted to see. And so your daughter said, she's like, well, we did a hard launch into off-grid living. And I'm like, there's definite pieces of this that have always kind of been that like goal of like, ooh, I would like to get to that. But life happens and you're busy and you cleave to the convenience of things.
You kind of cleave to the normalcy, because normalcy is convenience. And we do it because it's so convenient and natural and normal and habitual. Like,
And now in this, I'm like, okay, I would like to have running water.
We all agree. We have all of the adults were like, actually, if we had some kind of like Sabbath where we just flicked a power breaker and the house doesn't buzz with electricity, because you can hear it in the walls, and like, maybe we just like,
you don't think you can hear it until it's gone, and then you're like, oh, that's what's missing.
So maybe we flick a breaker. Maybe we leave the refrigerator breaker on.
Like I'd like to have a fan in my room.
Right?
Because the air gets so like, we don't have good windows that we can open to like cross breeze in the bedrooms, which kind of stinks. So like, I wish I could have that. But like, everything else could go. Even for maybe a day or two a week.
Yes. We might have threatened the children with that. Not threatened, but like, could you imagine just doing this and living like this? This would be so much fun. And they all went, but, and then now they're kind of a little bit more.
They're having a blast.
Okay, this is actually kind of fun. Oh, I have more time to do this. Oh, I have more time to do that. Circadian rhythms are really picking up.
Oh yeah, because all of a sudden people who couldn't go to bed at a normal time and were staying up all night, there's really no sense to stay up all night. It's black. Ain't nothing you can. We are so used to so much artificial light and artificialness with just computers and phones and all of the things. And now it's like, it's none of that. So everybody's like, well, it's dark. Let's go to bed. And guess what? When the sun comes up, everybody starts waking up, because here we are.
Let's sit around the campfire for a little bit while it's dimming down and the campfire's
just kind of wind down,
itself.
Relax.
And then we're all cozy and relaxed, and then we just go into our respected bedrooms and essentially sleep.
And then the sun comes up, and guess what? Here we all are.
I do feel incredibly bad for the night shift we have.
I know.
We have one of our family members is a night shift worker,
And he just started, so he worked so hard to get himself on the night schedule.
He did. He worked so hard. We had just conversated about this and whether or not he should keep his weekend schedule of being the same night shift or he should switch back for being a day person.
To work nights.
Hard. I feel so bad for him because his circadian rhythm is all kinds of messed up.
And he's trying so hard.
But it feels better naturally, though.
Well, the sun is fully up, so the household is up. We have, I think, used up our recording time.
I think
hopefully
so too.
We can get this out to you all sometime soon. But happy homemaking, Hurricane Helene edition. Here we are. We're gonna get down to a creek today. We're gonna bathe. We're gonna wash some laundry. We're gonna keep tending fires and
surviving. We'll keep surviving.
Keep surviving. So continued prayers, of course, to everyone because so many. I mean, it is so bad out here, and it is affecting so many upstate South Carolina, even into some areas of Tennessee and a couple. It is really, really bad. And so continued prayers for all of that. Of course, when this goes up, I'll link everything down below. You guys can check out our community tab here on YouTube if you want to help in any way. There's different things there, but we're gonna keep on keeping on until eventually, hopefully, things start becoming whatever they become again. So thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully we'll get to share this with you all here soon, and off to play another day a Little House on the Prairie. Bye, friends.
Bye.